President Uhuru Kenyatta has told those who want to introduce or amend proposals in the BBI to come up with their own bills. The legislator is currently speaking to one of our reporters, Dennis Kariuki. Let's cross over there and listen in.
Particular report as is will not be opened up. What will most probably happen is that editing of the kind of language that has been used. If there are people who gave presentations and maybe they feel that what they presented wasn't captured exactly the way they presented it. And a good example, for example, is the pastoralist community who spoke about agriculture and specifically said that they want agriculture to always incorporate livestock, and feel like maybe what was captured in the report doesn't actually, just seems to be focusing on crop without livestock, and now they would want that explanation clarified in the report. Now, those kind of clarifications can be done, but to open up the report to bring in new views, personally, I think is a mistake. We've had 2 years where people were allowed to go and make views, to go and give in their comments, to go and give in their views, and over this 2-year period, any Kenyan from any walk of life, important people, VIPs, ordinary people were allowed to just walk in and giving their comments. The report was done in December. It was validated and released again this November, close to 12 months later. It would be unfair for the opinions of those who actually went to give BBI, to give in their opinions to the BBI, for somebody to now come at this point of the report to insist that if you don't take their views now, the report should not proceed. Why? Because for 2 years, where were you?
Honorable Senator Johnson Sakaja is opposed to the BBI proposal to have 2 senators of opposite gender per county. He joins me live to talk about this and other proposals at a time when former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has declared there will be no significant changes in the BBI report, save for what he described as editorial work to make clear vague issues. Senator, many thanks for your time. So let's begin with that apparent declaration or decision now from proponents of BBI that there really may be no significant changes to this report amidst calls to look for consensus ahead of a referendum.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Always a pleasure to be here. I think from the beginning, I think your introduction is a bit misleading. There is nobody opposed to anything, and there's a clamor to create 2 camps, or those who are opposing and those who are supporting. I think everybody is supporting. What we're grateful for is the window that really has been opened, because all these engagements you're seeing by the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, by the President, some of those which are happening behind the scenes, are an attempt, and a good attempt, to listen to everyone and to take views, whether you call it editing or you call it affirming or clarifying, but it's a process of listening to people. I don't understand the kind of hubris of some of our colleagues who feel that there must be a contest and there must be a fight, yet it's a document for all Kenyans. This document does not belong to any individual. It is not about one person. It is not about any political section. It's about all of us as Kenyans. And so we're happy. As a Senate, we're tabling a report this afternoon because we've gone through what was presented by the Senate to the BBI, and we've seen the discrepancies. So at 2:30 there will be a report in the floor of the House, just looking at what are the areas we think need to be strengthened. And then the decision will be made whether to strengthen them or not. Ultimately, Kenyans will decide. All
right, so let's talk about those proposals now touching on the Senate. The most controversial, of course, is having 2 senators per county, one that is, according to this report, will solve the issue of gender parity. What is your view now on that particular proposal?
My personal view is that it is a bit, messy to have more than one person representing one county, because what happens, for instance, as you've seen how Senate has been voting by delegation, you can tell what is the vote of Kiambu County, or Nyeri County, or Turkana County, or Namata, or Nairobi. When you have 2 people who take opposing views on an issue, for instance, if I vote yes and the female senator for Nairobi votes no, then there's no position of Nairobi. Number 2, the need for objective oversight. If you have 2 senators, for instance, for Kisumu, and one senator is working very closely with the governor and is in cahoots or in bed with the governor, and the other one is doing oversight, that proper oversight will be seen as a witch hunt. So those are concerns that have been raised by senators. Many women leaders also feel that the women representatives added more value in the National Assembly with a fund of 7 million per constituency called NGAF, which has done a lot of great work. My women rep in Nairobi, for instance, Esther Pastoralist, has had a lot of resources to help affirmative action. Now, when that is taken away, because in the Senate we don't have money, we don't have a budget, I don't have a budget, does that strengthen representation or not? Those are questions being asked. So it's not about opposing or proposing. It's saying, okay, can we look at this? If not, then let us then make a decision around it.
All right. And of course, some of the issues that the BBI report seems to solve, or wants to solve rather, is the seeming sibling rivalry between the Senate and the National Assembly. We had governors give their proposals on the BBI, and among them, they feel that the Senate should be strengthened by ensuring that the Senate has veto powers on all the bills before the report is subjected to a referendum. Your thoughts on that, and whether this really would quell the sibling rivalry that the country has been treated to?
The sibling rivalry, which I felt has been very unnecessary for a long time. In the last parliament, I was in the National Assembly. Even then, I felt there was no need. It is like a bird that is flying, asking which wing is more important, the left wing or the right wing. It needs both wings. In a bicameral system, sibling rivalry occurs when you have not distinguished or made clear the different roles of both houses or the complementary roles. What the proposal that has come out from the Senate and also from the governors and the MCAs is that because we are strengthening devolution, number one, you must strengthen the Senate. If you're adding 35%, then the oversight capacity must go up. Number two, that all bills that go through the National Assembly must come for veto in the National Assembly, just as is in the US Senate and the US House of Representatives. Since the executive is going to be in the National Assembly, the Senate is the house that should do vetting. Because Senate then becomes the real legislature, because in the National Assembly you'll have the executive, the ministers and the prime minister, as well as the members of the National Assembly. So the Senate does all the vetting of ministers who are not members of parliament, of constitutional office holders, and Inspector General, the Ombudsman, etc. And then now plays the role of an upper house with respect to legislation, because it's the only house doing pure legislation. So those are some of the proposals. You'll see the report, which is being tabled at 2:30. I won't go into the details of the report, but those are the thoughts that we have, that we need indeed a strong Senate so that you can have strong devolution and so that you can have proper oversight, because it will be hard for the National Assembly to oversight their colleagues. You're sitting there next to a minister and you're oversighting him and you're part of the same thing. It doesn't work.
Right.
If we don't want then to strengthen the Senate in that respect, then you can create a position where you have the cabinet coming from both houses. Those from devolved functions can come from Senate, and those from national functions can come from National Assembly. Right. If not, then let us have an upper house strengthened.
And indeed, many mixed reactions on what needs to change, what needs to remain in the BBI report. But the question now is, how much trust do you have for this seeming window for amendments to the BBI report? Because we keep hearing from leaders allied to the president and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. We've just heard now from Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Ngunjiri Mbugus there saying anyone looking to amend any proposals in this report needs to bring their own bill. The report has been open for 2 years. Kenyans have given their views for 2 years, and according to him, it would be unfair for anyone to come at the last minute now looking to give their views. How much trust do you have in this window for amendment?
Michelle, when you say leaders allied to the president and the prime minister, who am I allied to?
I'm not so sure, Senator. You should tell us.
I'm the former chairman of TNA. I'm a member of Jubilee. The narrative that you try to create of putting people in boxes and putting people in political camps isn't good for this country. Yeah. So there's no that there are leaders allied to the president, and I'm allied to the president, he's my party leader. And these are thoughts. And the window, I mean, are these MPs right and the Prime Minister wrong? It's a former Prime Minister who's been meeting different sections of people, from the governors to the pastoralist groups. So are you saying that the MP for Nyeri Town is correct and the former Prime Minister is wrong? The cheapening of politics that you're being drawn into really is not where the country is. The country is at a place where we want to have objective discussion and an agreement can be raised. The window that has been opened actually, or even to meet or to clarify or edit, whatever you want to call it, has been opened by the president and the former prime minister. So we won't be pigeonholed into those cocoons that the media is trying to create. It doesn't exist. We are supporting BBI. We're supporting this country. And we do not think that there is need for us to close our ears to everyone. Everybody's voice matters. Every Kenyan's opinion counts. The arrogance of saying, oh, you bring your own BBI, yet this is a publicly funded exercise, is really, it leaves a lot to be desired.
All right, Senator, many thanks for your time. Nairobi